Good evening and welcome to the fifth episode of the Borough Breakdown, brought to you by Scottish Building Society. I'm very happy to be joined today by Cammy Hutchison and Dave Cherry. We'll be having a bit of chat about the Zebra game, a little bit of a preview of Ulster, and just some general chit-chat about life at Edinburgh Rugby. So without further ado, welcome to Cammy and Dave.
Evening.
Thanks for joining us on your days off. Cam, you've been spending your day off in the sun?
I wish. I've been spending it finishing off my uni semester, actually. I've got an essay due in a couple of weeks, so I'm just trying to wrap that up.
Dave, working hard yourself, or?
Obviously. Nah, we had day off today, so we had brunch with a few guys and ex-teammates and a bit of life admin, and that's my day thus far.
And are you normally, when you can, like to play some golf on your days off? And actually, we got a question from Alex Blair, which was, why does Dave not take a driver off the tee? I'm going to pretend I know what that means. That's a golf question.
Simple answer to that is the holes are generally too short and I don't need it.
And Cam, yourself, I've heard on the grapevine that you see yourself as a pretty good golfer, probably the best in the club.
I don't know if I consider myself that. I've been, I grew up in North Berwick, so it's almost compulsory to get into it, especially when your family play. So, no, I've been lucky. Yeah, it's something I've done since a young age, and as I've got older, I've kind of managed to get a little bit better, and it's one of those things that you never really during the season get to spend too much time at the golf course, and especially in Scotland during winter as well. There's more enjoyable things that you can do. So it's a good summer sport. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it kind of towards back end of the season and during the time off.
I mean, another compulsory thing in North Berwick at the moment seems to be playing rugby. And there's quite a long list of guys that have come out of North Berwick that have made it pro at the moment. I mean, it's yourself being sort of one of the latest. I mean, what is it about North Berwick that's producing all these rugby players?
Don't know, it must be something in the water. Honestly, it's a great club. I think it's something that everyone went to when I was younger. When you're in primary school and stuff, everyone would go to the rugby club at the weekend, and through that, you just as you get older, you start to see people who are maybe a bit more into it than others, and just developed through. And obviously we've been lucky, but boys have obviously been supported through the school and different performance pathway systems down there to push us on. But I think everything starts at the club, really. It's just a good culture, and it's a nice place to go down to at the weekend.
And Dave, from another factory of rugby players in Murky Castle, how was your time there, and sort of how has that sort of spurred you on in your career?
Well, actually, point on Cam is I remember playing mini rugby in North Berwick. We're always our rivals. So yeah, it's been going on a while, actually. But you said, how was my time at Murky?
Yeah.
Well, I went there for rugby, really. Absolutely loved my time there. I think it's one of the most precious times in your rugby career is playing with your friends. And it's something, if I say to younger players, that you really have to cherish that time. But look, loved it. It made me want to try and turn pro. And here I am now. That was a huge part of my rugby career, and I got to thank Merson for a lot, really.
I mean, it's almost like we've planned it, but we both had sort of, I guess, relatively unconventional routes into playing at Edinburgh. I mean, Cam, can you sort of talk a little bit about, I guess, your journey from North Berwick to where you are now?
So I was North Berwick kind of all the way through club and school, and then for the last 2 years I went to Heriot's school, played my rugby there, and that allowed me to kind of get onto a more central pathway system, which was based at Murrayfield. So been going along to Murrayfield for training since quite a young age, and left school, went to Curry, played there, had a really, really great couple of years at Curry. I think Ches actually played for Chieftains as well at one point. So yeah, great club there as well, and a lot to thank for them. And they were a massive part of me enjoying and kicking on with my rugby when I was younger in the academy system. Had a couple of injuries, which took me a while to get over. And after 20s, my second year, we went to Stade Niçois. So I actually followed Ches. He was the year before me. He was the first kind of project year out there. And I made the decision to go out and the following year, and then came back and just wasn't really doing too much. Was working in a bit of removals, did a bit of hospitality, did an office job at a company called Carlisle Associates in Edinburgh, who, again, like I've got a lot to thank for. They're super supportive, especially when I got the call to come in and train with Edinburgh, because a couple of guys had got injured one weekend, so they were basically just looking for someone to come in and hold a pad. And they'd been keeping an eye on Super 6, and I've been doing that. And then when COVID hit, we were just not really doing much, so the opportunity came to go in with Edinburgh, and snatched it with two hands, and I've managed to stay really since then.
Yeah, I mean, it sort of does that, I guess, journey sort of spur you on when you're getting those chances to play, like sort of on Friday night?
Yeah, massively. I think it gives you a lot of perspective when you've kind of been through quite a lot on the journey, whether it's and boys get perspective through different things. A lot of guys will get it through injuries. They'll get perspective on how much fun it is to actually play the game, and I've had it through actually being out the sport and not actually really enjoying my rugby, and then coming back into it and just playing more for the enjoyment and pleasure of it now, rather than because I take it really, really seriously, and it's everything. It's my whole world. You know, I've managed to get a few different things going on and outside of rugby, which I think helps me when I get on the pitch.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, Ches, we've as a club spoken about your journey sort of a fair amount in the past, but I mean, if you were to sort of condense it and to say sort of what you learned from, because I guess, you know, coming into professional rugby slightly later than others, and sort of, you know, the lessons you took away from that.
Well, yeah, I get called a journeyman, but I don't think that's too fair. But no, it wasn't maybe the most straightforward path. So I went to university down in Newcastle and played there, and travelled up to play for Edinburgh Accies, where I spent a lot of my time playing mini rugby back in the day. And then I went off down to London, and then I was the pioneer, as Cammy said, in Stade Niçois, which was interesting to say the least. There was no touch judges, and it was a different style of rugby we'll go with. And and then the opportunity came at Edinburgh, and here I am now, and I've got another year left on my contract, so I'm chuffed to be staying. And
I mean, you're obviously an Edinburgh man, but there's quite strong connections to Mull. We've on the grapevine heard that you've got a castle. Is that true?
I've actually played for Mull Rugby Club. Yeah, I was 16, and I played prop, and that's about as far we'll go with the game. I think we actually played Oban at the time, which is like a real rivalry. But yeah, I have actually played for Mull Rugby Club.
And probably one of the first players to play for Mull in Scotland?
I think so. I was speaking to Stu Rutherford about that. I think it was his dad played for maybe the Sevens team, but I think, yeah, certainly for the actual first 15, I think I'm the only man.
Do you have a castle as well?
Is it true about the castle?
Sand castle? No.
No?
No. I'm not like the Laird of North Berwick, Cammy Hutchison.
Well, that was Ben Muncaster. But and also it's that people want to know, Dave, you're one of the sort of driving forces of the fines group at the club. And there was a quite loud meeting the other day with the fines that were being dished out. Are there any good sort of PG-13 ones that you can tell us about?
There was a mutiny. We fined Ches 3 times.
I got fined 3 times. Yeah, apparently getting COVID's a fine. And then, yeah, we'll ignore the other ones. Cammy Hutchison was actually late to the fines meeting.
Oh, I don't think we should get into this because it's still a subject.
He was cheering on me getting fined, so you know, karma came back and bit him in the derriere, and he got fined. So
suddenly,
another fine was no one could get hold of Mike Blair on Monday, and it turns out he was out on a dog walk with Gilco. So that was another fine.
Well, what's the sort of the best fine you like, the most ridiculous fine you've dished out?
I don't know. Hutch, any ideas? What the most?
I'm trying to think of the PG ones.
What have you got, Hutch? Other than being late?
That's about all you've had, is it not?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Nah, they're generally all pretty reasonable fines. It's more what you have to do as a fine. So we've got money or funny, and you can select either. And they range from being the barista for the week to having to go up Arthur's Seat by yourself and take a selfie, or wear a suit during the day. Just really niggly things there.
Tell you what, Adams yesterday was a good one. That was a good story of how he got his fine. So McBurney locked himself out of his flat, and he ended up having to call a locksmith. And this was like he took his dog out on a walk before training, and came back and realised he'd left his keys in the flat and was locked out. And was thinking, what am I going to do? I've got my gym kit on, but my rugby kit, my boots and everything's inside, and we had captain's run that he needed to get to, and he's standing with his dog. So he calls the locksmith, and the locksmith comes along, and Ad's tried so hard to break the door down into his flat that the whole door is ruined now, and the locksmith's like, it's going to take me like an hour and a half to get into this because you've just ruined all of it. And he's like, oh, like, right, okay, well, my kit's inside there. So he says to the guy, like, can I just leave my dog with you and I'll just go to training? But obviously he didn't have his rugby kit with him, and he got fined for not having his rugby kit with him as a consequence of getting locked out of his flat, which I thought was harsh, but not fair.
Harsh but fair. I mean, talking of ads, Chaz, he's part of the hookers group, the hookers group that talks about hookers things and doing hooking. I mean, we've noticed of late that it's actually Stevie Laurie that's been beating everyone in the crossbar challenge.
Well, no, I was away for 2 weeks, to be fair, with being unwell with COVID. So now I'm back. We'll see what happens on Friday. But one thing's for sure, Rambo will probably lose, and we'll be buying the coffees as per.
And Cammy, is that, do the centres get jealous that there's this little hookers group that have breakfast and their weekly challenge?
No, Cammy gets jealous when there's cake from 100% line outs, and he comes waltzing in thinking you should.
So again, to give context to it, it's basically Stevie's got this thing that if we score a line out more on the weekend game, then he will bring in cake for everyone in that mall. So if ever you're watching a game and you think this mall, and then suddenly I've joined it, Curry's joined it, Benzo's joined it, Langer's, whoever's joined it. We're not thinking about joining them all. We're thinking about if we score, then we get the cake on the Tuesday or the Monday. That's what's going through the head. It's about the cake that we get the following week.
This is the sort of behind the scenes access we were looking for. It's all about cake at the end of the day.
I don't actually have any. I just like to throw it out there.
Body's a temple.
Exactly.
It was to chat about rugby a bit. It was a tense game on Friday night with a sort of a last minute win against Zebre. We've got a little highlights clip to remind everyone how the night went.
Kinghorn chipping one through. Mark Bennett's on the chase. It could be the perfect start here for Edinburgh, and it certainly is. They look to go that same way. Venditti. Oh, what a pass that is! The space opens up for Henry Pyrgos. He's got Hutchinson on his shoulder. The pop-up from Pyrgos. And when Edinburgh needed it most. It's a risky one, and Bennett with the interception. Has he got the legs? Mark Bennett utilises the space. Oh, it's wonderful from Mark Bennett. This time it's the short one. They dive low, and the try is scored. Jaco van der Walt brings up a huge cheer from the home support.
So a bonus point win, but had to work quite hard for it. Cammy, how was that for you on Friday?
It's tense even watching the highlights. It was just one of those games that I think we just found it hard to get a real foothold in. Obviously, discipline was a massive contributing factor to that. It's difficult for me to stand on a high horse and kind of say about the cards, because literally the week before I got yellow carded. So, these things do happen, and there was no, obviously Sykes is yellow and stuff. Sykes is red. Like, it's just accidental, but yeah, he's hit the guy high. But it's just these kind of individual, you call them brain farts almost, that ended up costing us a little bit, and just the momentum swings in that game made it very hard to really dominate for large periods.
I mean, you mentioned the red card there, and there was a yellow card too. I mean, Ches, it seemed like at moments when we were down a man, it almost like galvanised, because there was sort of a period, especially when Glenn was off, that there was sort of a couple of sort of 10-metre long driving mauls. I mean, does that sort of, the man going off, sort of galvanise you in a way?
A little bit, but I think, it was a tough game, and you actually look at Zebra's performances, and they're in games right up to the end. They might not have won, but they're not an easy team to beat or to put away by any stretch of the imagination. So we knew that going in, and really we just didn't perform to our best, and I think that showed. And as Cammy said, it was a bit stressful watching that. I'm not going to call it a highlights reel, because it wasn't the clips of the game back, but at the end of the day, we're delighted to come away with the 5 points after having 14 men on the park for 50 minutes.
Well, there was one highlight in there. Cammy, your first try at Damhill Stadium. How good was it to cross the whitewash in a crucial game?
Yeah, it was obviously a personal highlight and a special moment for me. But I was just at the time more thinking context of the game. Right before halftime, it was crucial that we really got something to get us a foothold going into the break. So whether it was me or anyone else, it was most important that the team managed to get ourselves in a good position going into halftime. But yeah, it was nice to get a try and feel like I've kind of contributed a little bit to the result.
And we've got some, obviously, we play a different try for every player for if they score, and obviously you get to choose your own. We've got some good ones. Darcy's got the can. Benzo's got Moana. Even Connor Boyle with Batman. Cammy, can you talk me through Panic at the Disco, High Hopes?
I honestly can't. I think I panicked. The deadline for it was that night, and I just went on my phone and started typing in songs, and that one came up, and I think we put 3 down, and you guys picked one of them, and I can't remember the other 2, but there's nothing behind it. I just thought it was a good song at the time.
Dave's shaking his head. Dave, yours is Thin Lizzy. What's the Thin Lizzy boys are back in town?
Well, it's a classic. It's an absolute classic. What more do I need to say?
Absolutely nothing.
I'll tell you actually the relevance of that. So when we were at school and we were in the Scottish Schools Cup, that was our song if we scored. So I thought, for old time's sake, I'll bring it back. And it was very apt, after COVID, it was just an apt song.
Good choice. We've got a fan question. It's from Drew, which is how do you get yourself fired up for a game? So obviously Friday nights, how are you getting yourself fired up for a game, Cammy?
I'm actually more the opposite. I'm more trying to calm and stay as chilled as possible. For the late kickoffs, it's pretty hard. It's a long time to kill during the day and in the morning. And when you think about you've got to wake up early to get the right meal prep done and getting your meals in. It's really easy to start thinking about the game and get the adrenaline going and be too up for it too early. So it's more for me about trying to stay calm, not think about it too much, and then once I get to the stadium, it's just going through my routine. I'll get some treatment. I'll get strapped up. I'll do some stretching and mobility, and then I then just go out and enjoy it. Like I love going out and doing the warm up. I try and get out a little bit early just to take in the atmosphere, not for any other reason other than it's nice to be out on the pitch and seeing it starting to fill up. And I really like the walk that we've got where you're kind of enclosed by supporters, which when you're going out to start the game or coming in at halftime or coming in at the end of the game, I really enjoy that kind of part of it. So yeah, it's just more about trying to control my emotions rather than psych myself up too much.
And Ches, are you a chill out before the game, or are you pounding 5 Red Bulls and getting manic?
Well, no, I'm more like I have about 4 or 5 coffees during the day. Clean the house. I've got some weird habits. I'm very chilled out. I think that's maybe come with age. You learn to switch it on and off. I'll read my notes that I've made during the week and things that are important to me for the game, and then maybe what I'm going to say before the game. And apart from that, I'm pretty relaxed and focus more on what I need to do than anything else.
Another question, this one from Amy, which might take a bit more thinking about, but what has been your favourite game this season? Go to you first, Cammy.
I think, to be fair, there's 2 that stand out. Scarlett's first game of the season, which was special for reasons of the first competitive game at the stadium, and probably the biggest game that I'd played to date, and it was just a special one to be a part of. And the second one would be the Saracens away. Just going down, train got delayed like 2 and a bit hours or something. We were sat on it having cheese and crackers the day before the game, and gnocchi pasta. That was the only food that we could get on it, and to go down there, and especially to near enough fully stacked Saracens team and do a job on them at their home pitch was a pretty special one to be a part of, especially so early in my career as well, to have wins like that under the belt and go through that experience with the team. I think put us and put everyone involved in it in a good position.
Two very good choices. You've had time to think about it, Ches. What about you?
I'm going to say Sharks away. It's probably more of a front 5 game, so that's maybe why I've picked that. The game we probably weren't given much respect for, and I don't think people really thought we were going to do much. But against the odds, someone did a rain dance, and the rest is kind of history. And for us as a pack, I think we were pretty outstanding going against quite a few South African World Cup winners, and yeah, very memorable game and quite a historic stadium.
Yeah, awesome. Joe asks, this is less about rugby now. I mean, I'll get this one to you first, Dave, because you are a man of fashion. Obviously, we've seen your Crocs.
Right.
But who has the worst fashion sense at the club?
Sykesy.
Why?
Because he always wears a stupid hat and he always rolls his trousers up.
Cammy, and you're not allowed to say Dave.
I know, I've got to agree with that. The T-shirts as well. It's always like a medium he's got on.
Sorry, wears his pajama T-shirt as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Weird.
I mean, Cammy, are you a Crocs man as well? What are your thoughts?
No, I'm not a Crocs, but I'm looking to invest in a pair of Birkenstocks. Everyone seemed to have them in South Africa, and just walking around in sliders, I was like, they just look a bit more supportive. So I think my birthday's coming up soon, so I'm gonna be asking for a pair of Birkenstocks.
What could be more supportive than Crocs that have got relaxation mode and sports mode?
And the sale on as well just now. Just point that out.
You getting commission or something, Ches?
No comment.
And it's another big game coming up on Saturday. We've had a question from Tom, which was sort of how excited are you to play it? Well, it's not quite sold out, but he said a sellout. But I think there's about 100 tickets left. But how excited are you to play at sort of a really, really packed out Dam Health? Cheers first.
I must say the atmosphere has been brilliant at all the games we've had at the Dam Health. So the more the merrier. And rumour has it there might be some chance of Gunners at the game. But look, it means the world to have the fans back and actually have an atmosphere. And it's a huge game, as you said. And I think when times are tough for us on the pitch, hearing the crowd can really spur us on and help us. So the more noise, the better.
Yeah, and Cammy, how much have you sort of enjoyed playing in front of I guess the atmosphere that the stadium was built for?
Yeah, I mean, it's class. I didn't actually really experience what it was like in Murrayfield before. The only game I played was behind closed door when it was at Murrayfield. So to come in and for this to be really the benchmark for me is class. Like, and hearing from the other boys how much better it is. I think it's better for the fans as well. I hope it's better for the fans. We like to think it is because it just feels like everyone's so close to the pitch, and there can be such good interactions and engagements from boys. You know, we've seen it on in scrums when there's big scrum pens and forwards are just turning to the crowd and pumping fists in the air, and it just really gets everyone going. And likewise into the business end of the season, the support's almost more important now than it has been at any stage through the season. So hopefully we can push and get those extra tickets sold and make it a full sellout at the Dam on Saturday.
Yeah, standing room only, so make sure you get your tickets before they all go. They've got another one. This one's from Murdo. If you could pick a dream front row, so two props you want to play either side of, let's say past or present, and they can't be Edinburgh players, who are you picking? And it can be the same for you for a centre partner.
Cammy, you go first.
And it can't be. I don't know. I mean, it's just people that jump to your mind are the Sonny Bill Williams, is the Matt Nonus, the Brian O'Driscolls. Like, just these are the guys that you watch growing up. Probably, I don't know. I feel like I've not played too much at 13 since kind of age grade, but I reckon playing outside Sonny Bill would be pretty nice. So I'd probably go with him if I was playing 13, or Brian O'Driscoll if I was playing 12.
And Chez, you've had a bit of time to think about it.
Yep. No, I've had a thought. So I'm gonna go off Durant and Carl Heyman, both kind of icons when I was growing up, and both big men, so you'd be fairly happy scrummaging in the middle of them.
So growing up playing as a prop, the dream.
Well, no, but you always look at the front row if you're a hooker, don't you? I mean, I should have been a 10, but
Who is the first one?
Osterrand.
Nah, don't know.
Oh,
in fact, you grew up in the 80s, Chez, so.
Early 2000s, I think you'll know. He was a South African loosehead. You can look him up after this.
And just finally, one from Amelia. What is your favourite part of being a rugby player? Cammy first.
I think it's genuinely playing in the matches at home with the fans and that interaction. It's a feeling of adrenaline and pride like I've never had before, and being able to just be a part of the club right now is really special. And I think those memories of walking out with the fans on either side of the gates, and when you're walking in after a win or whatever, it's like they're just really special moments. And those kind of interactions, we're entertainers really at the end of the day, and we're just trying to put on a really good show for the supporters who are coming and watching. And there's a really nice moment when we managed to do that, and we're representing a whole city, not just ourselves, not just the club, we're representing the city, family, everything. So it's probably just more the pride of being able to do what I do.
Oh, awesome. Try and follow that up, Jez.
That's the easy one for me. It's the feeling when you've thrown everything at a game and that final whistle goes. I just don't think you can beat that feeling, and there's nothing else like it. When you've put everything into something and you come away with a victory, the feeling of winning is just unparalleled.
Awesome. Another good answer. Well, guys, I'll let you enjoy the rest of your evenings. It's still nice and sunny. Maybe get a little bit of golf in before bed. But, thank you again for joining me. And, hopefully see you on the pitch on Saturday.
Thanks. Cheers.
And thank you for joining us again. I hope you enjoyed the chat with Dave and Cammy. We'll be back at a similar time next week. But in the meantime, we'll see you on Saturday for another crunch game against Ulster. See you then.